I don't know how to say this. I've been a pastor for 12 years. And I ended people's lives. 23 people from my own church. I didn't pull a trigger. I didn't stab anyone. But I sent them somewhere knowing they would die. And they did. Some never came back. The ones who did, car crashes, heart attacks, mysterious illnesses, within months. And now the same people who gave me power, they want me dead too. If your pastor has traveled to West Africa in the last few years, if they came back different, if people in your church have been dying mysteriously, you need to hear this, because you might be next. And before I tell you how I got involved with the Dark Lords, I need to show you something. All 23 names. I kept records of everyone I sent. I'm going to tell you about 3 of them, and by the end, you'll understand why I'm risking my life to expose this. I didn't start out as a monster. In 2009, I was a young pastor, 28 years old. Small church, maybe 75 members on a good Sunday. Looking back, I can say I was sincere. I fasted. I prayed. I genuinely wanted to help people, but my church wasn't growing. We could barely pay rent. My wife was working 2 jobs. I watched megachurch pastors on TV with thousands of members, private jets, prophetic gifts that drew crowds. And I prayed. Honestly, I wanted that life too. Then, sometime later, I met this prophet who commanded almost about, if I am not exaggerating, 4,000 to 5,000 members. His name was the Seer of Seers, simply because Prophet Daniel can really go deeper into your spiritual archives and bring out information that will shock you. And his prophecies, they came true 100% of the time. Prophet Daniel had cars. Not just a car, I said cars. Houses. He saw my struggling days. I will say he was there for me. He was giving me some monies here and there. Then in one of our outings, he said, "Pastor Michael, you're praying to the wrong source." Honestly speaking, I was offended. I said, "What do you mean?" "I serve Jesus Christ." He smiled and said, "And how is Jesus working out for you?" That question, it broke something in me. He said, "I know people in Benin, powerful people. They can give you what will open the access for you. Ask Jesus all you want." I was confused, but I asked him to explain what he really meant by his words. He said that this will give me all the answers to the questions I've been asking. 3 months later, I was on a plane to Benin City, Nigeria. What happened in Benin changed me forever. But before I tell you about the ritual, you need to understand who the Dark Lords actually are, because your pastor might be serving them right now without you knowing. The Dark Lords of Benin aren't a myth. They are real spiritual entities that have been operating in West Africa for centuries. In the traditional religion, they are called voodoo. That's where we get the word voodoo. But what I'm talking about is different. Darker. These are entities that specialize in giving power to religious leaders, pastors, imams, prophets, and even political figures to rule over the people. The centers of their power are in 3 cities: Benin City, Nigeria Wida, Benin Republic, Lomé, Togo. Thousands of pastors from all over Africa, and now even America and Europe, travel there every year. They call it a spiritual retreat or prayer journey. But here's what really happens. You meet with what they call a spiritual guide, usually an elderly man or woman who speaks very little. They take you to a shrine. Sometimes it's in the forest. Sometimes underground. You perform rituals, blood rituals, and you make a covenant. The Dark Lords will give you prophetic accuracy, power to perform miracles, church growth, wealth and influence. In exchange, you promise to deliver your soul to them, or what they call spiritual seeds, human souls, on a regular basis. This, they don't call it human sacrifice. They call it spiritual transactions. But the result is the same. People die. If your pastor traveled to West Africa in the last few years, came back with new prophetic gifts, and people in your church started dying mysteriously, then you need to hear what I'm about to say, because you might be next. This is disturbing. But you need to know what your pastor might have gone through, because once they do this ritual, there's no going back. The ritual took 3 days. Day 1 was preparation, fasting, drinking herbal mixtures that made you see things. Day 2 was the blood covenant. I won't describe everything, some things are too dark to speak aloud. But I will tell you this. They brought out a live animal, a goat. They made me end the animal's life while speaking an oath in a language I even didn't understand. They said the words meant, "I offer my congregation as seed. Take from them what you need, and give me what I ask." The old woman, the spiritual guide, she looked at me and said in English, "Every 3 to 5 years, you will send people here. We will mark them. Within 1 year after they have come, they will die or disappear. This is the price of power." You see, I was so desperate for power and fame, so, instead of running away from such covenant, I said yes. Day 3, they initiated me. When my initiation was over, I was different. I could feel something inside me that wasn't there before. That was when I flew home. When I returned home, I didn't minister right away. For almost about a month, I allowed my assistant pastor minister to the people. I preached my first sermon exactly after a month I returned. I prophesied over 7 people. Specific things, names of people they'd meet, jobs they'd get, health problems that would heal. Specific, detailed, confident names, dates, events. All 7 prophecies came true within 30 days. My church began attracting numbers. And soon my church was exploding. Within 6 months, we went from 75 members to 400. Within a year, my church was numbering to about 1,000 members. People called me the prophetic voice. By this time, I was on radio, TV. Other pastors invited me to speak. I had everything I asked for, but the debt was coming due. This is the part that haunts me. This is the part where I became a murderer. I'm going to tell you about the first person I sacrificed. Her name was Sister Grace. Sister Grace was 34 years old. Single mother, 2 children. She had been in my church since the beginning, back when we were roughly around 45 people. She loved people. She volunteered in children's ministry. 3 years after I came back from Benin, I had a dream. In the dream, the old woman from the shrine appeared and said, "It is time. Send us the first seed." I saw Sister Grace's face. I woke up sweating. I tried to ignore it, but the dreams became more intense, every night. Then I started seeing the old woman during the day, in my peripheral vision, and my prophetic gift started fading. I called Prophet Daniel in a panic. He said, "Brother, you made a covenant. You have to honor it. Send the person they are asking for, or you lose everything." So I did something evil. I told Sister Grace that God had shown me she needed a spiritual breakthrough. I said there was a powerful prayer mountain in Benin where people went for deliverance. I offered to sponsor her trip, flights, accommodation, everything. She was so grateful. She actually cried and thanked me. She flew to Benin on March 15. I gave her the address of the shrine, telling her it was a prayer center. She was gone for 2 weeks. And when she came back, she seemed fine actually. Said it was powerful. Said she felt spiritually renewed. 6 weeks later, she had a heart attack. 34 years old. No history of heart problems. Sudden cardiac arrest while driving home from work. Her car hit a pole. She died instantly. The church held a memorial service. I preached at her funeral, and talked about how she's with Jesus now. How God must have needed her in heaven. But I ended her life. I sent her to those people. And they did exactly what they said they'd do. Her children, 12 and 9 years old at the time, are now grown without a mother. And my church grew more, after her death. Sister Grace wasn't the last one, not even close. And over the next 11 years, there were 22 more. I created a whole system, spiritual retreat programs, prophetic activation trips, destiny fulfillment journeys. I made it sound holy, made it sound like a blessing. And some people even fought to be chosen. And they all died. Not all immediately. Some took months, but within a year of that trip, dead. You see, I don't have time to tell you all 23 stories. But I need to tell you about this person. Because that's the one that made me stop. He was a friend. I mean a real friend. That's the one that made me confess everything. David was 35 years old. Married. His wife was pregnant with their first child. He was excited. He told everyone in church about the baby coming. I had a dream in February 2023. This time, I tried to refuse. I didn't send anyone to Benin. I tried to ignore the dreams. Bad things started happening. My son got sick. Doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong. My wife's car was in 3 accidents in 2 weeks. And I started losing money in a way that didn't make sense. Then, I started seeing them, the Dark Lords, in my house at night. Shadow figures standing at the foot of my bed. I was terrified. So I called David into my office. I told him about a prophetic activation conference in Benin. He was hesitant. His wife was 8 months pregnant. But I pressured him. I said God told me he needed to go. He trusted me. He flew to Benin on March 3, 2023. He arrived at the shrine. But this time, something different happened. Brother David called me from Benin. He was crying. He said, "Pastor, what is this place? There are no Christians here. These people are doing witchcraft. They said you sent me. They said you've been sending people here for years." I panicked. I told him to leave immediately. Get to the airport. He said, I'm leaving now. But pastor, how many people have you sent here? I hung up. About 5 hours later, I got a call from his wife. Brother David collapsed at the Benin airport. Heart attack. Dead at 35 years old. Perfectly healthy man. No history of heart problems. Dead. His daughter was born 2 weeks later. He never met her. And that's when I broke. I couldn't do it anymore. I told my wife everything. She left me with the promise of not telling anyone. Took our kids. I resigned from the church, but I didn't tell them why. And then, the Dark Lords came for me. What happened next is why I'm recording this confession. Because if you're watching this and I'm dead, you know exactly who killed me and why. You see, 2 months after I stopped sending people, they found me. Not the Dark Lords themselves, their representatives. 3 men showed up at my house. They said I broke the covenant. They said I owe them either continue sending people or send myself. I refused both. They said, then we will take you anyway, but we will make it painful. And we will take your children too. That's when I realized, you don't just walk away from this. I still see them sometimes. In shadows. In dreams. And I know they are waiting. You see, 2 pastors I personally know who went to Benin with me and tried to stop like I did. One died in a car crash last year. The other is in a critical condition right now, almost insane. Being held in his house secretly. I might be next. That's why I'm making this confession. Because if something happens to me, I know I deserve to die. But someone out there needs to know the truth. Before I end this, I need to tell you 3 things. These are signs that your pastor might have done what I did. Watch for this. If you're in a church right now, watch for these 3 signs. Sign number 1, sudden prophetic accuracy. If your pastor couldn't prophesy before, but came back from a prayer trip and suddenly has 100% accuracy, that's a red flag. True prophetic gifts develop over time. They don't appear overnight. Except when they are given by the Dark Lords. Sign number 2, sponsored trips to West Africa. If your pastor is sending church members on spiritual retreats, and especially if they are paying for it, run. Ask yourself, why would a pastor send people to a specific location in West Africa for prayer? There are powerful Christians all over the world. Why Benin specifically? Because that's where the Dark Lords are. Sign number 3, mysterious deaths in the congregation. This is the biggest one. If members of your church, especially faithful, committed members, are dying mysteriously. If there are car crashes, sudden heart attacks, disappearances. If your pastor's church is growing, but people are dying. You are in a church with blood on its altar. Get out. Because you might be next on the list.